What's going on, guys? Jacob Ober here, coming to you with my very brief recap of the trade deadline for the Green Bay Packers. No significant moves for the Packers organization today. The trade deadline passed at 3 p.m. Central Time. The Packers had significant interest in Texans wide receiver Will Fuller, whose contract expires at the end of this season. But according to sources following the conclusion of the deadline, the Packers and the Texans could not agree on value, and talk stalled. So, as someone who has witnessed the Green Bay Packers stand pat at the deadline many, many times in my life as a fan, it's kind of disappointing to see the Packers not make a move. I will be honest. The Packers are, to me, they always seem like they're just a couple pieces away, one or two pieces away, and it always feels like they have an opportunity to significantly upgrade at one position or something, and they just never seem to take the opportunity. And, I understand the asking price for Fuller initially was high. The Texans were asking for a second rounder, and, straight up for a guy who is often injured and might not re-sign here at the end of the season, a second rounder is a pretty steep price. But, unless the Texans were set in their ways in that second rounder, couldn't the Packers have found a way to negotiate down to a third, or like a third and a fifth or something like that? It seems like the Packers know that they have a weak spot at wide receiver, and I'm not saying that it's a devastating weak spot. It's not something that the Packers, if they didn't upgrade it, it was going to be just the end of the season for Green Bay, of course. But adding a guy like Will Fuller, a legitimate deep threat, to pair alongside Davante Adams would be pretty significant in terms of helping this offense improve. And the offense is already spectacular, or it has been so far this season for Green Bay. But just adding that extra deep threat, when the Packers have receivers like that, if they could have paired Adams with Fuller and then eventually Lazard when they get him back, that's just a lethal trio of receivers. And having that deep threat to fill MVS's role, I like MVS, but he has been very inconsistent this year. He drops the ball a lot. Having that upgrade of Will Fuller would have been really, really cool. And I just really am disappointed that the Packers couldn't have made that deal work out. Even though, there's a lot of guys out there too that feel like they could have been an upgrade over MVS as well. That are legitimate deep threats. And I'm just, I'm wondering how are the Packers not able to string a deal for someone, you could have sent a fourth or a fifth somewhere for someone who would have been, even if it's a small upgrade, still an upgrade over MVS, there's guys like Kenny Stills and Jamison Crowder out there for the Packers that they could have swung a deal for. I'm just, it feels like they were all set in their way, like either they're getting Will Fuller and they're not getting anybody, and that just really seems like a bad strategy to me. And, if it worked out, then hey, it would have worked out, but it's just disappointing. It really is, to see the Packers stand pat. And, hey, maybe the Packers are right this time around, but I've seen them stand pat at the deadline many, many times. And the Packers haven't won a Super Bowl in 10 years. And they've had one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And this team, to me, feels like it can be something pretty special. I said that about last year's team as well. And they were, in a way, something special, but they're still one piece away. And, of course, it was the run defense that was really the main culprit last year. But still, if you have Emmanuel Sanders in that game, do things turn out differently? Do the Packers score more points and keep the 49ers off the field better? I don't know. And, hey, Kyle Shanahan said right after the deadline today that he feels as if the 49ers wouldn't have been able to get to the Super Bowl if they didn't swing that trade for Emmanuel Sanders last year. So, that's an NFL head coach talking, and one of the best head coaches in the league. So, trade deadline deals do matter, and I feel like the Packers could have upgraded at a lot of positions. They could have upgraded at defensive line as well, with guys like Quinnen Williams. That was at the top of my list, there's just a lot of options out there for Green Bay, and the fact that they didn't take advantage of anything. It was a pretty slow deadline all around the league. There was hardly anything that really happened, but, it's just really disappointing that it didn't work out for Green Bay, and I'm hoping that they're able to, overcome it and still be able to win with their current group. But it is, a head scratcher as to why the Packers, at least, if they couldn't have gotten Will Fuller, why couldn't they have gotten somebody else at a cheaper value? I feel like they could have upgraded with a lot of different players, but they simply did not. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on the trade deadline for the Packers. It's kind of my recap of how things went for Green Bay. I'm sure that there are people who are going to be disagreeing with me and say we don't need to upgrade the wide receiver position or we need run defense more. And those are both valid, claims to make. And the Packers certainly could have done either or both of those at this trade deadline, but they didn't. And to me, I feel like they should have. And that's, to me, that as a Packers fan, that's kind of disappointing. But in the meantime, guys, so thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, @AlbertSports, and on Instagram using @Jacob_Ober. And I'll see you guys next time. Go Pack, go.